Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and I am the Lopsided Crafter. You can find me on all the socials as the Lopsided Crafter, and we have a website as well, thelopsidedcrafter.com. Today, I'm going to go over our new stitch pattern with you for the Waterfall socks. This has an intricate stitch pattern here that turns into almost a rib effect. This is not going to be a tutorial for the full sock. I do have several sock loom knitting patterns on my YouTube channel, and I will link one of those above. This is more of a tutorial on the stitch pattern. A few tips for loom knitting socks.
At the end of the day, when I'm no longer working on the project, I like to pop the yarn ball right here inside of the project.
That just saves the yarn from tangling around the pegs when you're not working. You know, sometimes when you shift your bag around, the yarn will get stuck around the pegs. That just kind of keeps your yarn. The ball inside of the project any further than it will go because I don't want to stretch anything out. I just kind of pop it right there inside where the stitches themselves are already stretched. Another thing that I like to do is use stitch markers. I use stitch markers for every stitch repeat. Another thing that I like to do is use a lazy Susan. So I will set this on whatever workspace that I'm using, and then I have a shelf liner that I set on top of it. So that way I'm turning this instead of turning the loom itself. That helps your hands. That helps the yarn from getting tangled up. It also helps, especially when you're doing socks, because all that extra friction hand felt your project. So a little bit more about the sock. This sock was written for Cindy Wood looms. This is a 64 peg loom. The stitch repeat is a multiple of 8. So it can be used on any loom as long as it is a multiple of 8. They have the 64, they have 56, they have 72, and if you need a different size, they will customize one for you. Excuse me. I like to use the Cindy Woods because I have them mark off the pegs in different colors for where I do my toe shaping and my heel shaping. Like I said, this is not a sock tutorial, but if you follow one of my other tutorials, you'll see that I already have those marked off. Okay. You can do this on the Flexi Loom. But again, just make sure that it is a multiple of 8. So let's head to the craft table. I will show you the line out for the stitch markers. I will show you the 4 round stitch repeat. It's actually pretty easy. There are 3 rounds of knit and 1 round of special stitches. However, the round before the special stitches, you will actually be moving the stitches around so that when you get to the round that has the special stitches, you're not having to move the yarn and create tension on your pegs. And the reason why you don't want to do it that way is because even though these pegs are somewhat flexible, if you wait to the round that you're actually doing the special stitches on, the yarn's tighter from the round before. It's hard to move it, and it will actually change the tension of your sock. So if you've ever knitted a sock on the loom that had lace or any kind of special stitches where you had to move things around and it was tight, chances are it was because your tension got tighter from moving those stitches as you were working them. So now let's head to the craft table and I will show you how to do the stitch pattern for the waterfall sock.
Okay, and welcome to the craft table. As I said, each stitch repeat is a multiple of 8. So I use 3 different color stitch markers within each multiple. The purple marks the beginning stitch of the new multiple. These yellow stitch markers are the ones that I will be doing the yarn overs on. And the stitch marker here in the middle represents my purl 3 together. And you'll understand more of that when we come to that round. Well, the round before, to show you how to set the loom up for the next round. As I said, this is a multiple of 8 stitches and a multiple of 4 rounds. So you are going to, following the pattern, you're going to start the toe and you're going to work on your stitch pattern. You're going to do knits on the bottom of the foot and the stitch pattern on the front. And once you have done your heel shaping, then you will do the stitch pattern all the way around the sock. So as you can see, I'm going to pop the stitch pattern chart in right here. So as you can see, you have 2 rounds of knit, a round of your funky stitches that you've got to move things around, and then the 4th round is knit. So on round 2, on your plain knit round, is where we're going to move all of our stitches for round 3. And the reason why I kept the stitch chart to reflect the stitches, meaning your knit 2, yarn over, your purl 1, purl 3 together. The reason why I left that on the chart is because I want you to be able to see what you are actually doing, instead of somebody just saying, move this stitch here, move these stitches there. That way you know exactly what you're doing. So if you come across any of these stitches or need to figure out a way to move stitches the round before on any project that you come across, you'll know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly how to do those particular stitches that the pattern is asking for. Okay, so as I said, I use 3 different colors. The purple represents the first stitch in every stitch repeat. These 2 will be our yarn overs. This one will be our purl 3 together. For this particular pattern, our yarn over is not an E-wrap. It is simply the yarn, placing the yarn in front of the peg. Okay, so let's get into the stitch pattern. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple repeats. So we were actually on round 2, and if you follow the pattern, you will know that this is a knit round. But we are going to set our stitches up for round 3. So we are going to knit to the marker that represents our purl 3 together. Now bear with me, I am doing this through my camera. So sometimes things look a little awkward and backwards when you're working through a camera. Okay, so we've knitted to where our purl 3 is going to be on our next round. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this stitch over here. You see how easy that was? This one is going to be where our yarn over is. So now we're going to move this stitch over here. We're going to knit our next stitch, which is also going to be part of our purl 3 together. So we're going to move that stitch over here to where our purl 3 together marked peg is. Simply put the yarn behind your peg, knit the next stitch, and then we're going to move that stitch over here because this is where our other yarn over is. And then we're going to knit the last stitch in that repeat. So even though you are knitting this round, you are setting it up for the round to come. So you've actually knitted all these stitches, but you've moved them in order so that, like I said, it'll be easier and less tension on your pegs. See, they are kind of flexible, but when that yarn gets really tight, it is hard to put that yarn on these pegs. And like I said, it makes your tension so much worse. So we're going to do that again. We're going to knit to our purl 3 together marker. Okay. We're going to move this peg, the stitch to the purl 3 together marker. We're going to move this stitch over 1 because this is our yarn over peg. And if you need to pull a little tension, say this is just a little too loose, just grab that yarn of that last stitch that you just made and just pull it a little tighter. And then you can pull on your working yarn tail. Go to our next peg, knit that, move it over. So now we have our 3 stitches for the next round. Go behind this peg, knit that stitch, and move it. So now we have our empty peg. Simply take the yarn behind and knit your next stitch. I'll show you that again. We're going to knit to our purl 3 together marker. Move this stitch to our purl 3 peg. Tighten that down a little bit. I'm going to move this stitch over here. So now I have my empty peg for my yarn over. Knit my next stitch. Put it on my purl 3 together peg. Yarn behind the peg. Knit your stitch. Move it over so you create an empty peg for your next yarn over, yarn behind, and knit that last stitch in that repeat. Go ahead and do all that, and then I will come back and show you exactly what you're doing on round 3. Okay, so you should have finished that whole round, and each stitch repeat should look something like this. You have 2 knit stitches, an empty peg, 1 stitch, 3 stitches, 1, an empty peg, and 1. Now, if you missed one here or there, it's okay. Sometimes I miss moving this stitch over to here. one stitch missed here or there is okay. It's not going to create a lot of tension on your yarn and pegs, but several of them it will. You may want to frog back by taking that round out. If you are unsure how to do that, leave a comment below and I can actually do a video tutorial on how to frog back on the loom. Okay, so now we are on round 3, which is our special round. And if you remember correctly, and I will pop it down here below, your stitch repeat is knit 2, yarn over, purl 1, purl 3 together, purl 1, yarn over, knit 1. That is done all in your little 8-stitch repeat. So we have our knit 2, yarn over. We're simply going to just put the yarn in front of the peg. We are not going to E-wrap on this stitch pattern because it makes the hole too big. Now we're going to purl 1, and we're going to purl 3 together. Now, if you had to move these stitches while you're working this round, it is very hard to get your loom tool through those 3 stitches. But by moving them the round before, they are loose enough to where you can do that in one swoop, just like you would do a normal purl. But if you have to lift all of your stitches off at one time, you can do that. I'll show you how to do that on the next repeat. So we're going to purl again, yarn in front of that peg, and knit the last stitch. Okay, let's show that again. We're going to knit 2, bring our yarn in front, purl 1, purl 3 together. So if you can't get it all the way off, you can go in here and you can just lift these stitches off one at a time. Sometimes you split the yarn, so just be careful that you don't pull your tail off, or your loop off rather. If you need to make a bigger loop to secure it within your finger, that's fine. But you can kind of stick your tool under there and just kind of scoop the stitches off like that. And then just make sure that you put the loop back on there right, because you don't want to twist that stitch. Just bring it forward and tighten it down. You're going to purl your next stitch, yarn over, and knit 1. So I'll show you that one more time. You've got knit 2, yarn over, purl 1, purl 3 together, purl 1, yarn over, knit 1. And that is how you do the stitch repeat that creates this really pretty rib effect right here. And to me, it just kind of looks like a waterfall. I don't know. But I hope this video helps you with the waterfall sock pattern. Again, like I said, if you are new to loom knitting and just unsure of how to loom knit a sock, or even how to do different colors for your heel, toe, and cuff. I do have tutorials here on my YouTube channel on how to do that. Another tip, let me just say, if you are knitting a sock toe up and you use the Kitchener cast on, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like to do that because they don't like to waste the amount of yarn that is used when you initially cast on the Kitchener cast on, because you've got all this yarn that you have to close for your toe. If you are using different colored yarn for your toe and your heel, close your toe before you start your heel. The reason being is you can use the yarn that you get from closing the Kitchener for your heel. I was able to get right above the heel shaping before I had to add more yarn. So I wasn't wasting any yarn from doing the Kitchener cast on. I just put it right back here into the heel. Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this stitch pattern. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can, like I said, you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. I am on TikTok, not as active over there. So the best place would be either on my Facebook page. You can message me right under the post about this pattern, or you can message me on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy loom knitting. Bye.